Welcome to the Cardinals Squad Show. My name is Benjamin Garcia, host of Locked On Phoenix Suns and host of the Ben Garcia Show. Cardinals have now lost 7 straight games decided by 4 or less. How much longer of a leash will Drew Petzing and Jonathan Gannon get? We'll discuss.
Jamil Douglas, former NFL offensive lineman. A wise man once told me, in order to win, you have to keep from losing.
Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Hard to pass up on that one. Jacoby Brissett looks good enough to be the quarterback for the Cardinals next season. I think that's a plus. Let's get it.
Rise up, Red Sea. It's the Cardinals Squad. Everything Arizona Cardinals every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Valley of the Sun. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Gear up and squad up. The Cardinals Squad Show starts now.
What's up? Welcome in wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening. Thank you so much for making us and this show a part of your day. Don't forget Locked On Cardinals Squad Shows free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow or subscribe button to do it. Thousands of Cardinals fans have already done. Become an everyday and get locked on to the Cardinals Squad Show and Cardinals each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. The Arizona Cardinals lose their 9th game of the season. We all once had hopes and aspirations for this team to potentially be a playoff team. They are currently out of the playoffs, officially not even into December. We'll talk about the good. We'll talk about the bad. My guys, Jamil Douglas, Clancy are joining me. Jamil, I'll let you go first here. Instant reactions from the Cardinals loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, a tough loss for sure. The reality of it is this team had a chance to win. It was a 3-point game with, I think, 4 minutes and 58 seconds left. And that's what you want. You want to be in a position to win the game. That being said, the first half was just brutal to watch, just from an offensive standpoint and being stale and not really being able to move the ball. Of course, they pick up, like I always say, they look great in 2-minute drives. I think they should go no huddle for majority of games. But like I said, this team had a chance to win the game. We all heard the stat that you said. I think they're 0-7 now in one-score games. What is the thing that puts you over the edge in close games? I'm starting to lean towards the coaching side when it comes to this team and, what will put them over the hump in these one-score games.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think that at this point, it's like outside of the barf fest of the situational play calling the last drive, it's like if you lose 7 in a row, this isn't all on the players. Like this is – and I understand the Drew Petzing thing. Okay, we're getting pushed. Like, I understand that he's probably not coming back. Okay, I also understand that it's on the players to be able to produce as well. With today, like the Cardinals 100% should have won this game. Like, this is not like wishful thinking, cheery rainbow butterflies up your rear end here. Like, they should have won the game. They played well enough to win the game. The defense played well enough holding this. What's usually a high-powered offense went healthy to 20 points, and 2 of those scores were one after a missed field goal and another after a quick 3-and-out by the Cardinals defense, the Cardinals offense. Like Jacoby Brissett, 300 yards passing, 29 for 40, 2 touchdowns. Trey McBride, Marv, who was hobbled. Like, everything should have worked out for the Cardinals to win, aside from the 2 turnovers, which is the great equalizer here. That isn't coaching, it's playing. So that's where my brain is kind of melting right now for this one. It's like Cardinals should have won, but they also turned the ball over twice and gave up 2 scoring opportunities, which would have given them the win.
Feels like we're all pointing towards coaching here. I think we're all in agreement that not everything was on Kyler Murray, but we were kind of okay with the changing of the guards, if you will. There's been no Kyler here for the better part of 2 months, and they're still losing close games. And I tweeted out that I didn't think this was actually a Drew Petzing game, especially in the first half. The first half, the Buccaneers were continuously in the backfield. I thought Todd Bowles did a really good job exposing that right side of the offensive line. And they sort of figured out in the second half. But maybe Jamil can attest more to this, but I don't know how you consistently just pee on your own leg at the end of games where in 3rd and 1, you're throwing the ball deep to Michael Wilson in double coverage. Sure. Maybe you're like, yeah, Jacoby probably shouldn't make that throw either. But then the next play you follow it up with, I thought they were going to sneak the ball. And they gave it to their undersized running back. I guess they ran it to the strong side of the offensive line, but the Buccaneers knew it was coming the entire way. That is coaching malpractice, and 7 games now of losing games of 4 points or less. Like, I can't believe we're talking about this team being out of the playoffs and playing no meaningful games in December when we all thought, well, even if they don't make it, games will mean something in December. So I don't know, Jamil, have you ever been in these kinds of scenarios?
Not to this point, but I will say this. The questionable as far as where Jacoby threw the ball in terms of Michael Wilson being double coverage. The thing about it is, like, we know players aren't going to be perfect during these games, right? That being said, Jacoby has 6 straight games of 250 pass yards and 2 touchdowns. Today he threw for 300, 2 TDs and a pick. We understand players aren't going to be perfect. What puts you over the edge as a team in close games is understanding that 1 or 2 calls is going to change the outlook of the game from a coaching standpoint. What kind of position can you put your players in to be successful that's going to put you over the hump? I feel like with all of these 1-score games, it only comes down to that. I mean, you're in these games for a reason, right? That means your defense is doing enough to keep you in the game. Your offense at some point has scored and put themselves in position to win the game. Granted, who has the ball at the end of the game, but I just feel like we're looking at a situation in which 1 or 2 calls changes the dynamic of these games. And unfortunately, I feel like the Cardinals just haven't they don't have that experience of finishing games on their own terms.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to get both of you on this, unfortunately. Michael, Jamil, what were you pining for last week to get that ball, to run that exact same route? Michael Wilson.
Yeah, Michael
Ben,
Wilson.
what have we been yelling at all year? Don't run it up the gut. Try to get something off tackle. Try to get somebody outside in space, which is what they did. I have 0 problem with that play call, with both of those. You want to get a chunk game against Michael Wilson, who's good against great with contested catches and stuff. That was Todd Bowles. They knew that play. The safety just sat home. Like, that was better defense. I don't think that was a bad play call. And then Michael Carter in space had already had a nice chunk staying low because his center of gravity is like on the ground. Like, he spun out of a big tackle earlier and got a first down. So you get your guy in space, you have him make one guy miss and gain a yard. I have no problem with that. It's a lot better than running Michael Carter up the gut, which is what we saw earlier in the season. Like, it didn't work. But you can't be results oriented when you're talking about the play call, because obviously it's revisionist history at this point. But I was happy with that. I was happy with the 4th down play call in overtime last week. They just didn't work.
Do you think that was the right time to go for it on 4th down on your own down and distance, where if you don't get it, the game is effectively over because Chase McLaughlin hits a field goal and down 10 points, you probably don't feel great about your chances. And in hindsight, it was the game.
No, I would have gone for it.
Yeah, I would have gone for it.
In this day and age, between the 40s on either side, you go for it. Like, I don't have a problem. Like, we can pick apart whatever we want about Drew Petzing. We can talk about, the quick play calling at the, a minute 45 left and 1 timeout, two dump downs where dudes couldn't get out of bounds. Like, we'll talk about that in the next segment. But overall, there was nothing bad that happened today aside from the 2 turnovers. They just can't win close games. As Jamil said, it's like at some point you got to look at the coaches and be like, this is on you, homie. Like, this is not on the players. It's a 1-score game. You got to win them.
It just feels like also for the 4th straight week now, the Cardinals are a second half team. And again, that goes on Jonathan Gannon. Like, again, if we are blaming coaches, I think at some point it's got to be pointed towards Jonathan Gannon, who continues to stand by Drew Petzing, who's another totally different side of the equation. But I mean, man, your job as a head coach is to get your team ready to play, especially in early morning, different time zone across the country games where, yeah, I guess the defense was fine, but they scored 3 points in the first half as a whole. I don't know how much longer you can roll with this. It just kind of feels like that it just kind of feels like that Jonathan Gannon is kind of just coaching with no urgency. And it tells me he's going to be back next season.
What?
Oh.
Who's coaching with no urgency?
Jonathan Gannon.
And that he's going to be back next.
Yes.
What does urgency look like? I'm not challenging. I'm just curious what that means. It's very abstract.
It feels like if your teams aren't coming out for the 5th straight week with their hair on fire offensively, like what was the one thing you had talked about for weeks, Clancy? It was like, hey, in the opening kickoff, we want the ball. Let's go set the tone immediately. They didn't do that again. That's what I mean by that. Come out, try to get an early lead. When was the last time the Cardinals come out, get an early lead, and dominate a game in the first half where they're always playing catch up? Well, I mean, outside of the Cowboys, I think in the Cowboys game, they got off to that start. They won that game. But again, that's different.
Their whole defense was healthy. Like. I mean, like, here's the thing. It's like we can talk about excuses and stuff, and I don't talk about injuries as an excuse, whatever it is. It's like take your guys and go. But it's obvious with Will Johnson and Garrett Williams out there, this team is significantly different. The Dallas Cowboys game was the only game where they were healthy-ish since week 2 against Carolina, and that was with Mac Wilson out against Dallas. So it's like, listen, man, they're doing the best they can. It's just not good enough. And with Drew Petzing and Jamil, I think you and I are still here. It's like, don't just think that he's not going to come back.
Yeah.
No, I'm there with you.
But the problem is, you obviously cannot hold the weight of 3 pass catchers. Michael Wilson disappeared today because Marvin's back.
Yeah, so I'm not understanding that. I'm not understanding.
But that's play calling, you would say.
For a while, Trey McBride disappeared until that final touchdown.
Yeah,
he didn't really show up for a while.
But I guess it's play calling. I don't know. You know, it doesn't make sense to me how you can have a guy that looks like a number 1 receiver while your actual number 1 is out, and then when they're both in there, the production is half of what it usually is from either or. You know, like it. They made it a point. I think they made it a point to get Marv involved. Great. Love it because he was making plays, and you got to go to the guy. I mean, every time he catches the ball, like he has it. So, and things are starting to click for him. So it's good. But I just don't understand. Yeah, I think it's too many mouths to feed from a passing standpoint when you don't have a run game to break it up.
What? Why would that be the case? I'm not challenging, like,
because, man, you're so dependent on your air attack that these guys, I don't know, it hits my brain the right way, but you're so dependent on the air that because you don't have the ground game to get defenses to worry about different things, it's like, oh, we just call this one one concept, or we just call this Marv's number, and the ball needs to go to Marv. Like, it just doesn't. Something doesn't make sense to me in terms of like how you can have such dynamic pass catchers, but when they're all in the game, the numbers don't add up.
Yeah, it's like you split the X today between Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
They were 9 for 110 combined, or whatever it was. So that's solid, but you know, you'd like to see 80% of that for both people, and not just combined as one. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, let's keep this conversation rolling because I think there's also, like, I know Michael Carter had a fine day, but I think there's an argument to be made. The Cardinals need to invest in that backfield a little bit more, and that would help, I think, supplement Jamil's point a little bit to break up the offense. So let's talk about the running game. Let's talk about it a little bit more with Marvin Harrison Jr., who also, like, I don't really understand, got hurt in this game, but continued to play. Let's break that all down, and let's do it next. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement of this sports season, whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both. There's no better way to jump in on the action. If you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player statistics, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Listen, it's kind of fun. You'll be able to pick Marvin Harrison Jr. is over or more or less on yardage, and Devin Booker's more or less on points. And listen, if you're going down that route, you're probably taking less on both these days. So I like picking my favorite players. Or if you're, someone out there that's got a few different teams, like you could pick like Mahomes and Steph Curry to see how your predictions play out as well. The new stacks feature is a game changer. You can now pick more on Steph Curry's points, threes, and assists in the same lineup. Plus, if one of your players leaves with an injury, the injury reboot saves my lineup from a loss. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. It's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. So I want to continue with this conversation because I thought Jamil was making a pretty good point about the running attack. I think you just become really one-dimensional, and I think it's one of the issues that Kyler Murray has had for a really long time, locking on to just one pass catcher. And I think I kind of agree with Jamil on this. If you have a running back who can kind of change the pace of the game a little bit and help the Cardinals maybe find someone else open downfield where it's Michael Wilson, play action, those types of things, instead of just taking a 3-5 drop and throwing a slant to Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, too often there is a problem here where Marvin Harrison Jr. has a good game, Michael Wilson is absent. Marvin Harrison Jr. is out, Michael Wilson looks awesome. There's got to be a better way to feed the Arizona Cardinals wide receivers, and they're just not doing it. And I do think one of the ways that they need to do it is investing in every down running back or someone to complement Trey Benson. I know Michael Carter was fine today. Those two, Mike Carter and Bam Knight, like that combination ain't it.
Well, nobody expected this to happen this year. We didn't expect James Conner to snap his foot and then Trey Benson to go out shortly after. Like, but today that's not an excuse. I mean, they ran for more yards today than they did in the last 2 weeks combined. So it was obvious that Todd Bowles was like, you're running the ball. Like, you're not throwing the ball down the field. That's not going to happen against this team. And Bam Knight was okay, and they were able to run the ball. Like, I don't think, and that's even more of an indictment on the pass game, where it's like, I think they have one X and one tight end, and that's all they can really, deal with. Today was probably the biggest indictment for me on Drew Petzing. This pass defense could be had. And Michael Wilson just completely was non-existent. He didn't even get the opportunities. So I don't know. Force feeding Marv is great to prove the point, but that's not what the offense. This did not look like a complimentary offense that had any sort of identity that Jamil's been talking about since week 1.
Clancy, do you think it's more of a Drew Petzing issue that we are still concerned with Marvin Harrison Jr., or do you think it's a bit of a Marvin Harrison Jr. where he had 4 catches and I think it was the opening drive, and then after that, if I had to guess, he had 4 more after that. So it must have been 3 catches and 3 more after that, because there's no way he only had 2 catches the rest of the game. Is it Marvin Harrison Jr. not getting open, or is the Cardinals doing a poor job finding Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I think and he's been hurt for the better part of 6 weeks. So
looks hurt again today too.
I think at this point, like, you got to look at this season. And Jamil, if you're in the mud and the muck of this season and you've lost so many games outside of the Cowboys game, 7 1-score games in a row, you probably could have lost another one. You're the only win on Tennessee's record. It's like, for me, I'm looking at vacuum stuff. Like, Marv has played fine this year. Trey McBride's great. They need a running back. Paris Johnson Jr. is good. The defense is good. Jacoby Brissett's the guy for 2026. I think, like, that's kind of what I'm looking at lens-wise. Like, how are you watching these games at this point?
Dude, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what is the thing that will get them, because they're going to sit here and say, well, we've lost a ton of games, right? And they've been 1-score games. So that means we're close. What is it that will put you past that? Is my question. Is it the offensive line? I don't know, because like I said, Jacoby has thrown for over 250 pass yards for the last 7 games. And so, yes, we can say he's taking sacks. They heated him up. Todd Bowles heated him up early and often. Like, the pocket was not clean, still standing in there. I just don't know what it is. The only thing I can pinpoint is coaching. When you lose these games by one score, I have to say it's coaching. And so, yeah, you could say we can go get a better back, a better, right guard, right tackle situation. We can go fix those things. Do better players put you over the hump, or is it going to be better coaching? Because a lot of these teams are functional in terms of where they are from a personnel standpoint, and the coaching helps hide deficiencies to win close games. So I try to watch the Cardinals now and figure out what exactly it is, and it's so hard to pinpoint exactly why do you keep losing these close games, because you would think 7 one-score games, typically you win 3 or 4 of those, and that just hasn't been the case.
Yeah, and I mean, you're even looking at so losses. You've talked about this. We've talked about this. And one-score games come down to a couple gotta have it plays. The good teams do it. Patrick Mahomes is amazing at it. Tom Brady was always great at it. I'm not comparing either of those two guys to this, but it's the Cardinals with Jacoby Brissett specifically, because that's what we've had over the last couple months. Is the gotta have it 3rd and longs. They're able to execute up until the point where there's a point of no return where you got to go win the game, and they can't. You have to be able to execute plays that you have no business getting a first down on. You have no business defending or getting a sack, whether it be a coverage sack or otherwise. Yeah. And then right when it's time to turn into a pumpkin, they do. Yeah. Immediately. Right. So you stay in the game, and then right when this is okay, good teams, even average teams, can execute these 3 things down the stretch and the game in victory formation. And then from the start of the season to now, the Cardinals, again, another chance. You need 55 or 60 yards to get in a field goal range. But you were moving the ball pretty good today, and it's just dump down, incomplete pass, game over. It's oh, great. There goes that again.
Why do you guys think people are still, and I saw it a lot today, pinpointing this game on Drew Petzing alone, when I didn't think you guys didn't mind these, I guess, but I didn't love the play calls to Michael Wilson, and then the Bam Knight crack toss to left, didn't love that either. But regardless, I didn't think the play calling was terrible until Clancy just brought up a really good point at the end of the game where you got to have it, and they didn't get 1 first down. Why do you think people are still pointing the proverbial sword at Drew Petzing?
I would say because of the slow start, and I don't know if this is a head coach thing. I mean, I have my opinion on it, but I'm just proposing the question. Is this a head coach thing, or is this our offense in terms of just how the operation works? When you go into a game, the night before a game, your offensive coordinator gets up in front of the offense and you go through your first 15 plays. These plays are the plays that you feel the utmost confidence in based off of what you've seen in the past in the past games, as far as the games previously played, and what you see from a schematic standpoint that you do well versus what they do on defense. And so in terms of starting fast and going and scoring on the first drive, we haven't really seen that. I think that falls on Drew Petzing. And I also think it falls on Jonathan Gannon, because I think your head coach has to be a stickler for starting fast. And I think he puts that emphasis on the defense and not the offense enough. And so I think that's the reason and why people are still calling for Drew Petzing, because we didn't see the offense really come to life until right before the first half was over in the little no-huddle 2-minute drive that they had. And so it's well, if you notice your offense does well in no huddle, how about the first drive of the game? You're just going to vanilla it up and go no huddle with your offense on the field. You can still run, you can still play action, but we're not going to huddle. We're just going to get on the line and call it. So that's my thoughts on why people are still coming for Drew Petzing.
Yeah. So just really quick, I want to hop on that, because we mentioned starting fast. They obviously didn't take the ball first, but they were marching down the field fine until Jacoby Brissett threw the ball into 3 different players, and then eventually one of them picked it off. So
and that's why I said he's not going to be perfect, right? Things exactly. We're going to see that happen. And so it's a double-edged sword because it's like, yeah, they were starting fast. Jacoby forces a ball in there. That's on Jacoby. But the track record of what, we've seen in the past weeks is they haven't started fast enough on offense.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, when was the last time we saw, oh, wow, that was easy. Drive.
Wait a second. That's a good question. When did we see that?
Well, I mean, we're probably gonna forget one. I mean, there was one against Jacksonville.
Maybe Cowboys.
There was one last week against Jacksonville.
Okay.
But it's just like, where the hell has that been? We don't even remember where the hell has that been. So it's just like the Cardinals are constantly swimming up current against themselves. Even when you start to get momentum, it's like, well, how can you screw this up? Let's figure that out. So the Drew Petzing thing, that's been brewing for a long time. It's like, well, last year was like, oh, Marv isn't getting involved because the offense sucks. That was where it kind of started. And then it's like, oh, the offense isn't working, fire Drew Petzing, but they don't have a run game and their offensive line is bad and you have a backup quarterback and whatever it is. And I won't use the backup quarterback as an excuse because the offense looks better. But Drew Petzing, and we said this going into the season, he'll be the easy scapegoat. He's the easy scapegoat. He was the easy scapegoat when the season started. If they don't win another game this year, it's going to be difficult for me to be like, oh, Jonathan Gannon's 100% coming back. And they're probably not going to win another game this year. Like, they could beat Atlanta. They've got the Rams twice. They've got Cincinnati in the frozen tundra 2 weeks before the season starts, you'd expect. Like, this isn't going to be pretty. The Cardinals could 100% be picking top 6.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you bring a guy back who's had 2 out of the 3 years, a top 5 or top 6 pick? Like, it's difficult, man, especially if there continue to be 1-score games. I don't know. It's another nail in the coffin every single time they lose, even though they've been out of playoff contention for quite some time.
You said something on your live show that I think bears repeating, where you were saying, it's what more can I say about this team, but it's in all the wrong ways. Because we keep pinpointing the same issues with this team every single week. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think they know what the problem is. I don't think that. Do you think in their heart of hearts, like if Jonathan Gannon lets go of Drew Petzing at the end of the season, do you think that they think that that's just going to fix everything? Because if they thought it would, why haven't they already done it?
No, they're not. I mean, like I said earlier in the year, we heard, Jonathan Gannon say, I'm fine with the play. I'm fine with the play calling. There's nothing wrong. And so they're 100% of the essence that the play calling is not the issue. He has confidence in Drew Petzing for whatever that may be. He does. Talking about they don't know what the issue is. We can't even diagnose what the actual issue is. And typically you can sit here and watch a team and say, this is why they're losing games. I can't tell you why the Cardinals are losing games. I really can't tell you. If you looked at just the box score of every single game, probably outside of the Seahawks game, because they just, got blown out in that game. If you looked at the box score, you would say, wow, they probably won that game, or it was close, which it was a close game. But, Trey McBride, 8 for 82, a touchdown. Marvin Harrison, 6 for 69. Michael Carter, 5 for 47. Like, that's just in receiving, it just doesn't – you hold an offense of the Buccaneers that we're used to seeing light it up. Like, the Cardinals should win the game, theoretically, but they're not. They're not. And that's the hard part for me to figure out what exactly is wrong.
So real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Jamil,
I just got some stuff from JG, so I'll just add it at the end.
We've all in the media space been through this. Okay. It took me a few years to get to where you are now. The Arizona Cardinals have officially broken your brain. Okay. And this is something that happens. There's no medicine for it. You just got to kind of adjust. And I could probably imagine when you played over the years, you knew concretely a couple things that were lending more than others as to why your teams were losing, if and or when they were losing.
Absolutely.
Or root causes. With this, it was like that thing in Lost, that being that just existed in the forest and nobody knew what it was. I haven't watched Lost, but I know that it's a thing. It's like this aura around State Farm Stadium where it's like, you're going to lose more than you should. And it's the weirdest thing. It's, it's kind of Jacksonville-y. It's kind of Chargers-y. It's way more Chargers-y than Jacksonville, but the Chargers have actually seen success. It's an undefinable definition of insanity that is very difficult to thwart and very rarely has it. And it's just, this is it.
I guess if I'm really thinking of it, then it has to come down to the turnovers today.
Today, for sure.
Like the Cardinals are not a team that can win a game by giving up possessions. They have to maximize on every possession, whether that's getting a field goal or a touchdown. So I would have to say, that fumble, the pick, those are the reasons that they lost, but they lost by 3 points. So
they sure did.
Yeah, it's a weird deal. That's a weird deal here.
Hey, think about it, man. If games decided by 4 or less were actually counted as wins, Cardinals would be pretty good. They'd be pretty good at losing close.
Yeah.
Talk about breaking your brain there, Clancy.
Well, I mean, 'cause, before we pivot, if you think about going back, this isn't like the Cardinals score a touchdown late and they lose by 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
Every single game outside of the Seattle blowout and the 49ers blowout after the bye, even including the Seattle Week 4 loss, they were in every single game. It was seesaw battle. Quite literally every single game was a seesaw battle.
Mm-hmm.
And they lose all of them. Every single one of them. And you could make an argument that they could have lost in weeks 1 and 2 also.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because they've been there and they've been the bridesmaid every single time because they forgot to put deodorant on and then they wear the wrong socks and then they showed up late. It's every single reason why they weren't the bride, they were in the building and they just couldn't bring it home. It's bananas that's even now, week 13, we're talking about the same exact thing. So crazy. I don't know, man. I've never seen anything like it.
We'll get to some lessons of the game later in the show. We'll get to some more good and bad. But first, some updates from, I guess, some good. The players backing Jonathan Gannon post-game, and we will get to those next. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. It's really simple. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so easy to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a selection, and have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. The seat view feature is a game changer. You literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert, and event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, Game Time. So per Teo Mackey, who I would assume is out in Tampa Bay right now, I guess that doesn't really matter. Can't really confirm that. Jonathan Gannon is getting some support from his players, which I guess would tell us where this direction is heading with JG, still not losing the locker room. Per Gannon first said he loved the play call to take a deep shot on play action on 3rd and 1, so continuously backing the play calling from Drew Petzing late in that game. And Jacoby Brissett, quote, "We've got the right men in charge in Jonathan Gannon." That's your starting quarterback. That's your veteran.
What do you want them to say?
I think it is totally fair to monitor the situation of players maybe not backing, because like obviously I don't know what the question was. It could have been framed any way. But you could easily say we've all got issues right now that we need to examine, including coaches, including players. You could give I think, a political answer. Jacoby Brissett coming out right out and saying that they still back Jonathan Gannon. It might not be a positive. I get what you're saying, Jamil, but it's definitely not a negative where they still aren't man overboard and they're eliminated from playoff contention.
Well, I don't think that they dislike Jonathan Gannon. I think they love Jonathan Gannon. I mean, from the things that I've heard as far as how, people view him within the league is he's a likable coach to have. That being said, likes doesn't mean that you're a great coach, and likes don't translate to wins. I think, players, a lot of the stuff is above players' pay grade in terms of who they don't get to pick who the coach is. And so realistically, that decision is going to have to come down to the organization in terms of making a move that puts you, in talks of going to the playoffs and winning close games. So I'm not going to put too much weight in it. I think, I've played for coaches that, I thought were good guys, but I didn't necessarily mean that, we were going to win games. I think it's just sometimes you have to say certain things in order to not allow the ceiling to cave in, which the ceiling has caved in from a season standpoint, but in terms of the talk around the building.
Yeah. I mean, they're not, yeah. Screw this guy. Get him out of here. It's like that's never happened in the history of existence. No.
Okay.
That's what you're asking for. It's like, they believe in him. Sure. They still believe in this guy. Drew Petzing is still believed in by Jonathan Gannon. No, this is what competency looks like when dysfunction is happening. Like this, there's no Kyler Murray yelling at Cliff Kingsbury on the sidelines. Like this is an adult organization. This is why I've had so much trouble balancing the bad that we're seeing and the good that could be with the stability that's here. Even though this doesn't look stable, it's stable. I'd rather have this than a 10-2 Cliff Kingsbury team. And I know it's like, well, you just hate Cliff. It's like, no. What Jonathan Gannon has done is ushered in a level of stability and competency that this organization didn't have before him. Is it going to get him, is he going to get fired regardless? Maybe. But this is like the most rational and adult way to approach a bad situation. There's no dysfunction. Nobody's saying, get me out of here. Nobody's saying fire. Oh, there's leaks about this and this. It's a bad situation that's being handled like adults. And that is not something you could say about this organization for a large extent of its existence. And I just don't know how much weight that holds, if it's enough. But nobody's going to talk bad about anybody else, at least to the media.
So
right?
So I got the full quote here from Jacoby Brissett. Quote, "It's all about the details. We can't worry about the outside noise. The noise is always about the coaches." Brissett said of Jonathan Gannon, he's the right man in charge. He has a clear message, never wagers. We all know it starts with us. And then Jonathan Gannon also took accountability for the Cardinals losing today. Looking for that one right here. It starts with us coaches, making sure we're on the details and start converting more of those plays so we can win a game. So I don't know. It does seem like a little bit different of a message this week where they're openly coming out and backing their guy. It's week 13 and they're doing that now. So we haven't seen that yet. Last week, we didn't see Jacoby Brissett have to back his guy. So it's something. I think it's something. It's not everything. Going back to the players on the field, that is some of the, I guess, good, depending on what way you want to take it. It's good if you think like Clancy, he's established a real culture. It's bad if you think you're someone who wants Jonathan Gannon gone. Back to the field as well, because we haven't talked a lot about the defense of this game, but Clancy did bring it up. Garrett Williams and Will Johnson were both on the field tonight, or were both on the field today, and the Cardinals did a pretty good job in terms of those two players. But early in this game, Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson, I don't think had great games in this game, kind of getting torn up in the second level, in the secondary. there's some good stuff there, but you got Will Johnson, you got Garrett Williams who played today, and it just probably continues to lead you to believe if this defense is healthy, maybe they truly are a top defense in the NFL. And if they are, it shows that Jonathan Gannon's doing something right, that his defense continuously comes out week in, week out, and is stable when it's got most of their guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. I think he puts a lot of the emphasis on the defense in terms of what he, and we know Nick Rallis is calling the defense, but Jonathan Gannon is a defensive-minded head coach, and so he probably sits in all of those meetings throughout the week. And so I feel like we don't even need to talk about the defense half the time because they've done enough in terms of keeping these games relatively close. Yes, there's been a few blowouts, things that have gotten a little out of hand. We know that. That's that doesn't need to be said. But today, they did more than enough to give the Cardinals a chance to win this game. I think in terms of what we're used to seeing from the Bucs is an explosive offense. Ibuka making plays downfield. I don't think he got in the end zone today. And so it was a good job by them. I have no notes as far as the defense. Josh Sweat continues to be productive and make plays, and that's all you can ask for in terms of an offseason signing, a guy that you pay big money to. So that's a good thing. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have no notes, Clancy. I have no notes on the defense in terms of what could or couldn't have been,
I mean, this is the healthiest the offense has been for the Bucs since, ever. I mean, Bucky Irving's been out for a long time. That's my fantasy football team.
Maybe.
The funniest full circle Steve Keim moment was Tristan Wirfs catching a touchdown pass. That was the 8th overall pick, heard around the world. For those that don't remember, and haven't had to talk about this team every day since, the Cardinals decided to take Isaiah Simmons and passing on Tristan Wirfs. Jedrick Wills at the time, even though he hasn't panned out with injuries. CeeDee Lamb was there, who was Kyler Murray's college quarterback when he won college wide receiver when he won the Heisman. And Tristan Wirfs was all pro his rookie season, I believe, when they won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. So, eating your vegetables is something Steve Keim didn't do, and now it's come full circle hysterically with Tristan Wirfs catching a touchdown pass. But, I mean, listen, the defense, I will back the defense pretty much for, in perpetuity. Like, yes, they got boat raced by Seattle. They got boat raced by San Francisco after the bye. They've played toe-to-toe with what will probably go down as the toughest schedule this season, especially with Carolina winning a bunch of games now, and then Indy being what they are in Green Bay and Dallas winning games. Like, what can you do when everybody's hurt the entirety of the year and you try to piecemeal things together? I mean, I don't know if Max Melton's going to be on this team in 2 years. Like, it's been tough. It's been tough. But what do you guys – so before we go over the lessons of the game, like just looking way ahead, which I like to do here sometimes, Nick Rallis' contract is up also. So how do you make those things work? With Jonathan Gannon have 1 year left, Nick Rallis up. You'd expect it to be a package deal. Are you extending Jonathan Gannon? Probably not. Are you bringing Nick Rallis in a 1 year deal? Probably not. Like, something's got to bend it. You're trying to put a round peg into a square hole here. I just think there's enough there to where it's like that's the no-brainer. The Nick Rallis should be back if he wants to be.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if he wants to be back, I think he's done enough to prove to prove that he deserves that. If I'm Jonathan Gannon, I'm still the Cardinals head coach. I can't let that guy walk out the building because I think that as far as the defense gets called, if Jonathan Gannon's not calling it, that is the only person that he probably trusts to call it the way that he likes it. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Nick Rallis is ready to be a head coach, and so I don't see him going on to be a head coach. I also don't see him leaving to go be someone else's defensive coordinator. Like that jump doesn't make sense to me. So I think they have to figure out a way in terms of, sticking with each other. But Wins, man. The wins.
Yeah,
that is the one caveat.
And you played against a lot of defense in the NFL, man. I mean, you look at this defense, how young they are, how many really good players they have on this defense. If they can stay healthy, it's like, name a better DC job out there that's going to be open. It's
That's
like,
what
unless a
I'm saying.
DC, unless, a vet DC takes a head coaching job somewhere and, there's this like ready-made defense to play. That's the most frustrating part. And I think that's what messes with all of us here is the roster's there for the most part. I mean, I know a lot of guys are injured, but like, especially defensively, like Mac Wilson, I would assume is going to get a contract extension. ADG, we'll see, but like everybody else, like this is ready-made to go. Darius Robinson had an interesting quote that Theo Mackey tweeted out about how he's not who he thinks he is. He's not who he thought he was. So he's super emotional about his production. Like, dude, Josh Sweat, you bring in a backup dancer for him. You see if Calais wants to come back. Like, people will want to come play for this defense.
Mm-hmm.
And
then Walter Nolan's going to get healthy at some point.
Walter Nolan's going to get healthy, yeah, of course. And then, like, I don't know if there's going to be a better defensive coordinator job out there with the roster at hand.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, I didn't hear the last 10 seconds you guys said. My headphones went out. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Moving on to the final segment, lessons of the game, and also a look. I don't know if you guys are Stranger Things fans, but a look at the upside down standings for the Arizona Cardinals and where draft positioning lands right now. We can do all of that, and let's do it next. Closing out the show, I mentioned this last week on, again, my own stuff, and it was, if you're a Cardinals fan, the best thing for this team, which I think is what kind of the end of what I caught you guys saying, was the foundation is there. They've got the wide receivers, they've got the tight ends, they've clearly got what they have in the defensive in the defensive room as a whole. It seems like to me they just need the quarterback and maybe a makeover at head coach, so we can save that conversation for a different day, or we've kind of talked about it a little bit. The Cardinals right now sit at 7th in the draft order behind the Titans, New Orleans Saints, Giants, Raiders, Browns, and Jets. Jets almost won today. They ended up losing, but
I think they won, right? Didn't the Jets win?
Did they end up winning that game? Okay,
Yeah,
Jets ended up winning that game. They're still tied to the Arizona Cardinals in that top 7. The Cardinals right now would have the 7th pick in the NFL draft. And then you look at the Cardinals' upcoming opponents. It's a lot of Bengals, Texans. Like, yeah, the Texans' offense might not be great, but they are going to over under 6.5 sacks against the Cardinals' offensive line in a couple of weeks here. So I would argue this has got to be like this. Losing games is kind of the best case scenario for the Cardinals, guys. They're not in playoff contention anymore. They are eliminated. I don't know why. Okay, well, guys, I understand. Maybe like I get that this is. I do. I get that this is a fan take, right? But why does winning games matter right now? Why?
Because you don't have a secure head coach, and so if you're thinking in terms of this ain't Mike Tomlin having a down year. This is a first-time head coach having his
third down year.
Yes, a third down year. So you can't just turn it in and say one player is going to fix our problems. Like, he has to – this offense, this defense, this whole team has to put together a couple games to win. Like, they don't have the luxury of saying we're going to get this player this upcoming draft and we're just going to run it back and figure it out. Like, like I said, this ain't Mike Tomlin having a bad year. This is a coach who's still trying to prove that he can be a head coach and operate an organization. So that's just out it's just out the question in my eyes.
Yeah. Losing games is not good. I don't care what the draft pick is. There's not like
there's not.
There's not. First of all, this draft.
Sure.
Second of all, it's not a good precedent to set ever. Like, look what the Cardinals did. They tried to They tried to win the game down the stretch. They tried to win games down the stretch, and they were able to get Marv anyways because Matt Prater decided to miss 2 field goals against Seattle. Things are going to work out how they're supposed to work out. You can't play, higher power, whatever it is, and expect there was a whole thing with the NBA for years when they did the reseeding thing, and the Clippers tried to lose, and they lost. They ended up having to play the team they wanted to avoid. I think it was Denver because they dropped their seeding. You don't play with what's going to happen. You focus on what's going on now. Plus, and I've said this every time you brought this up, none of these players want to get usurped and have a young guy take their job. Okay?
Sure.
This is people who are making a lot of money doing their job. They want to win every single game. And now you're looking towards some sort of momentum for the future, even though it's not directly correlated. You want to show as much proof of concept for next year with as many players currently on the roster as possible. And they're probably going to lose every game for the rest of the year. That's not the point. It's not good they lost. That should never be something that comes out of anybody's mouth when you're looking at a team that's really trying to figure out what their core is going to be like in the future. And as Jamil said, their coaching staff. Everything matters.
So here's my point. The players, regardless of what I think is good for this team at the end of the day, are not going to try to lose. And Jonathan Gannon, 3 straight losing seasons, we could argue he should be out of here already. All I'm saying is them losing all these games. I've never been in the NFL locker room, so Jamil knows better than I do. I just don't know how winning 2 more games on the year is better for this team than getting closer to trying to find your franchise guy.
We just did 8 minutes on why.
I'll tell you
I
this.
I don't buy into it. I don't subscribe into that notion, especially when the team, I actually think it's kind of great in this instance of you are losing games really close. We think that if they just maybe fix 1 or 2 things, I think if maybe they get the right quarterback, and I think probably they get the right head coach or new head coach, these things maybe change a little bit. And I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy to say that.
Ben, do you think that
I don't think players want to lose?
Okay.
No, not at all.
So what you think the coaches want to lose? You think the coaches have the leash to lose?
I'm saying, believe it or not, I'm spinning it positively. I know they're losing games, but it's not like it's the worst thing ever, because what does winning games actually do right now? It does nothing.
Save a bunch of people's jobs.
Why? Okay, good. Let me hold that right there. Why should Jonathan Gannon get his job saved because they won a game? Let's say it's the Bengals. They went on the road and beat the Bengals.
I don't think he should. But the reality of it is, if he finishes out these last 4-5 weeks of the season with all losses, his job is gone. There's no question. There's no question that he's not going to have a job. And so they're like I said, this is not a situation in which we watched the Steelers last year have a down year and they're a quarterback away from fixing it. And you know that you've had 20-something consecutive winning seasons. This is a whole different situation. This guy is now in the position of fighting for his job. He doesn't care about the draft pick coming up. He may not even have an input on who's going to be drafted if they don't win or show some signs of life. That is just where he is right now. And the guys in the locker room, they could care less about. They're not even thinking about May and what the draft may hold. Like those guys are now some of them are thinking we may have a new coaching staff next year. If I want to be here, I need to continue to do what they pay me to do. So this isn't, the draft thing is out the window with this team on both sides. They can't position themselves like that. This isn't a Tennessee Titans team. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Where there's no coach, you have a bad roster. This is a roster that a coach would take and be over 500 in a heartbeat. And so it's just 2 different situations, man. Doesn't make sense to me.
I think I'm arguing it as 2 separate situations, though, where I don't think the coaching and players care at all. But I think from a building a team standpoint, and the players and coaches are going to go out there and, try to win every single game. The point is, I don't know if there's a singular one left on the schedule. And hey, listen, having a top 4 pick, it could be worse.
So what do you suggest? They start Keaton Slovis the rest of the year?
Well, no. All I'm pointing.
You want them to throw games? Like, what does losing look like?
Yeah, no. I'm not sure. And then
I'm pointing out, you guys are making it seem like I'm telling them you should lose like this. All I'm pointing out is
saying that they should lose games.
No.
What are you saying? Just give us one sentence what you're saying.
Is, it's not the worst thing in the world that they're losing games. That's all I'm saying. Because they are closer than ever to potentially getting their franchise quarterback. I don't know what that is.
Hold on. You think that they are losing games so they can get their franchise quarterback?
No, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. I'm saying it's not the worst thing in the world that the Cardinals have lost games like today.
To you, because you're not in the position that a Jonathan Gannon is in, or they're
not trying to lose. Just so we're clear, I don't think they're trying to lose, and
it is the worst thing in the world to this coaching staff.
Sure,
because like I said, this roster, there's a ton of teams that this roster is better than that. Like I said, a competent coach, a good coach, would have this team in the hunt or over 500 in a heartbeat. And so, yes, to the eye from outside of the locker room and outside of the building, yeah. Oh, we'll get a fourth overall pick. Well, who are you going to pick that's going to take them over the hump?
Sam Levitt. No, I'm just kidding.
Sam Levitt's on a scooter right now. Like they're Sam Levitt is not the answer. I don't know a quarterback. I don't know that there's a quarterback out there that you can say is going to have more production than what Jacoby has had right now.
Even if they have a top 5 pick, they're not drafting a quarterback, man. So let's just get. Who's going to protect them? Why do we have to keep talking about the same thing over and over again?
Quarterback. Well, because the quarterback is always more important than anything else on the
David
field.
Carr that.
Now, what I'm saying is
offensive line.
All I'm saying is
the offensive line is more important.
How's your all offensive line fantasy league going, bro?
Yeah, I'm gonna start it.
To Clancy's point, this is where the Cardinals coaching staff thing does come to where the discussion starts. Is if they think a right tackle is transcendently better than the quarterback on the board, then yeah, you take the right tackle. But I'm saying is if both guys are equal, you're taking the quarterback because the quarterback is always more important. But regardless, for everyone listening, I'm not saying that the Cardinals are trying to lose. I'm saying it's not the worst thing in the world that they're losing these games when they don't matter. That's all I'm saying. Anyone have any lessons of the game?
Well, you said the same thing 5 times, and we disagreed each of the 5 times.
Well, I'm going to get you on the 6th one.
There's never a positive
That's it.
to losing games. Okay, if Andrew Luck,
that's probably true.
This is all negative.
Yeah, if Andrew Luck was 20 years older and his child was whatever going to be the number 1 pick, and the Cardinals needed a quarterback, and they were whatever it is, you could you could possibly have that, weird conversation. But no, what Jamil said is right. Jonathan Gannon probably will lose his job if they lose out. It's probably going to end the same result. They're not going to beat Houston. Jacoby Brissett's going to get sacked 10 times. They're not going to beat the Rams either time unless the Rams are out of, unless they have clinched something in week 18.
Yeah.
We're probably going to get to the same result, but thinking that losing is better than winning at any point is a fool's errand, in my humblest of opinions.
You think
no
one win, let's say they get one more win on the season, that is better than just losing out?
Yeah.
All right. Anyone have any lessons of the game? Clancy, you got any lessons?
Don't lose. Score more points than the other team. The lessons of the game is this may be, and again, this could be recency bias on my end, and I'd own that. I don't know if there's a bigger indictment on Drew Petzing this season than today, with Michael Wilson and Trey McBride all healthy, and the inability to spread it out with the potency that they had, with Marv out.
Yeah, My lesson of the game is, I mean, we talked about this in preseason, and I said that I didn't feel like the Cardinals have the ability to end games on their own terms, and we're almost through the season, and I still have not seen I still have not seen them end a game on their own terms in 7 one-score games, and so that is my continued lesson of the game.
My lesson is losing games isn't all bad. No. I think it's the first time I've thought to myself, I think they need to fire Jonathan Gannon. 7 games where you lose by 4 points or less. At some point, I got to point to coaching, but I just continuously lean on the fact of what Clancy has been saying, which I think is true, that there is a culture of accountability now, but is that enough? Is that enough? And I don't like the candidates out there. There's like, Brian, you want to hire Brian Dable to be your head coach? Like, he just got fired. People keep telling me, Clint Kubiak, go get him. He was just fired last year. So it's the first time where I'm like, maybe you have to fire JG, and I'll lean on that. And I wonder if they're going to do it, man. With that being said, guys, Clancy, Jamil, myself will be back later in the week to discuss some more Arizona Cardinals and, of course, their opponent for next week. But for now, the Cardinals are eliminated from playoff contention for what? Like the 9th time in the last 10 seasons? What they made it in 2021. What year are we in? 2025? Yeah, I think I got it right on the dot there. The 9th time in 10 seasons. So listen.
Good job.
You wanted consistency, Jamil. Here's your consistency. Consistently bad. We'll talk to you guys later in the week. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the show. And we will talk to you guys when we see you again.